Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This week I am planning with the Pretty Pinko's Frost, which is in hollow foil, if you can see the sparkle. It's a dark blue, your typical dark blue, gray, tan winter kit, but I always think the hollow foil makes it like really pop. So yeah, this is the washi, and the snowflakes are super cute here. And I got a couple add-ons here. So I've got the full deco sheet. I think I got 2 of these. Yep. If you remember from my sticker haul, I couldn't remember why I ordered these. And then I also got 2 of the foiled samplers. So the hollow foil with lots of deer and tree deco. And then I got the journal deco as well, which is going to be really, really helpful in this spread. So yep, let's get into it. So this is my second week with my new setup, which is Clipchamp, editing my videos on Clipchamp and recording them in with voice memos versus QuickTime because that's a Mac application. I don't think it's supported by Windows anymore. Anyway, I think I'm slowly getting better / more used to this. The editing in this video, I think, is much tighter than my first one because I'm a little bit used to Clipchamp's idiosyncrasies, although I definitely said to my boyfriend yesterday they should call it Clipchump because it's just doesn't have all the functionality of iMovie, but, you know, we out here. So, and one of my directs likes to say, that's the work, so I'm just going to say that's the work. There's a lot of not complicated, but more like really tiny deco details in this spread. So it's a little bit faster than usual just because I shot like 2 hours of footage, honestly. And then when I edited all of the kind of breaks out, it was still down to like 45 minutes. So in order for me to get it to a reasonable plan with me, I had to speed it up. So, and I've also sped through some of the more like tedious deco parts. So hopefully y'all don't mind. So yeah, you know, we're fully into 2024 now. And it's been a pretty chill year so far, she said 2 weeks into the year. We finished Fall of the House of Usher, which I think I talked about in my last video and was really, really good. And that like threw me on a bit of a reading kick. So I have been reading now. I've finished reading this book called The Turn of the Screw, which is based, if you've ever watched The Haunting of The Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix, that's the book that that show is based on. And it really had kind of like a cliffhanger ending. So I'll say a bunch of the books that I'm reading lately, there are these like cliffhanger endings where I'm like, what? So that was great. I also finished The King in Yellow, which is a book written by one of H.P. Lovecraft's contemporaries. It's gothic fiction. That's the kick I'm on right now, like old, like 18th century. And it was really, really good. Although, again, like, it was sort of a hodgepodge. Like, part of it was scary, and then it got into some love stories, and I was like, what is this? And then the love stories really ended on, like, a cliffhanger. Like, these 2 characters, they fall in love, they get on a train, and then that's the end. And I'm like, what happens? So I finished King in Yellow, and because of House of Usher and how that show has so many Edgar Allan Poe like cameos and like Easter eggs, I was like, you know what? Let me read through the entire works of Edgar Allan Poe. So I started on that, and it starts off the book that I have starts off with his travel narratives, which were apparently written for these like men's magazines, like these adventure men's magazines, you know, back in the day, meaning like really ancient day. And so I went in expecting these to be scary because that's what people typically know Edgar Allan Poe for, is like scary stuff, you know. And these were just like stories about people going into the woods and doing stuff. And it was really, and again, they also ended on cliffhangers. Like, there's a story about this guy who's rowing up the Missouri River with his, troop, I guess. They're looking to get a bunch of furs, especially beaver furs, that they can collect and sell. they also want to make it all the way from, like, basically traverse the entire length of the country via the Missouri River. They get to a place that's really close to the Pacific, they think. And then suddenly they're like out kind of trying to forage for food, and they run across a bear. And so the bear, or two bears, the bears rush at them. They manage to fool one into running off the edge of a cliff. And they, like, one of them shoots the other through the eye, because they, like, say that they've tried to kill these bears before and they're, like, impervious to bullets. And then the book ends. And I was like, what happened? Did they make it? Did they not make it? So, yeah, it's really, the whole book is just diary entries of, like, we made 23 miles today. We ran across some Native Americans. They were friendly. They were not friendly. They don't call them Native Americans in the book, by the way. I'm just calling them that. They say Indians. And yeah, it just was bizarre. So I'm finally in the tales, which is supposedly the scary stuff, but it's not really scary. It's more weird. You know, these are like the section I'm in right now are these story fragments that, like, you start in the middle. It's more like someone's writing like a parable. Anyway, so I go through these periods of reading where it's like, I will read. I'll read like 4 or 5 books in like a month and a half, and then I won't read for like 3 months. It's like I almost get like burned out on reading, but I go like super intense into like a genre or something, and then I like need to take a break from reading altogether. So I think I'm in one of those, I know I'm in one of those periods where I'm reading like crazy, and I'm just going to keep it going for a while. Another thing that might be an antidote to this is that I'm in a book club at work, and that's like a monthly book club. And so I'm at least going to have to read 1 book a month. But if y'all anything like me, or here's what I usually do is I'm like, okay, I'll definitely start reading this like 2 weeks ahead of time, give myself some leisurely, room to read it. And then suddenly I'm like, oh my gosh, the book club is next week. I haven't read. And then I furiously read the entire thing in a weekend. I actually don't mind that so much because I feel like it keeps it fresh for discussion for the book club. Like if I read it closer to when the actual book club is, then I'm like, okay, I remember what happened. I've been in book clubs before. My sister and I started a book club over quarantine. And I would read the book ahead of time and make all these notes and make this like detailed, like, hey, this is what I'm going to ask people about and blah, blah, blah. And then by the time the book club date actually came around, I was like, I would look at my notes and I'm like, I don't even know what this is about. I don't know what she was saying here. She being me, past me. So, yeah. So, I have also encountered, so I'm switching topics. My boyfriend tells me that I like do what he calls channel surfing in conversations where I'll just like flip from topic to topic to topic. And I'm like, the truth is this is just the way my mind is set up. But like, I need to guide people through what is happening for me because otherwise I'll just be talking and it sounds like this series of non sequiturs. So, I have been reading and hearing about this thing called a damp January. Now, my youngest sibling was like, I'm doing damp January. And I was like, girl, why are the kids making up all these terms? The kids. But I truly thought she made that up. And then I saw an article about it in the New York Times. And then last night at dinner, I heard some people at the table next to us who looked to be a little bit older than us doing a damp January. So I'm like, all right, I'm getting a sign from the universe. This is a thing. This is definitely a thing. So my understanding of damp January is it's not a dry January or presumably a wet January, a wet one being where you drink with, reckless abandon, but one in between. So you're sort of drinking, you're sort of not. And so my incredulity when my sister was like, I'm doing a damp January was because I'm like, is this just not called moderation? Like, is this just not called being responsible with drinking? Because like having a few drinks when you're out with friends, that seems like the norm. I mean, okay. My boyfriend was like, we don't drink very much. And so that's why this seems strange. And I'm just, I guess, trying to get a handle on how much other people are drinking. And not to like judge them, but to kind of benchmark myself because I guess I felt like I was doing the average. So, we might have like one drink a week. There are plenty of weeks where we don't drink at all. And there are also times where we go out to dinner, like we went out to dinner last night and I had 2 cocktails. This is a side note. I have started getting into chocolate espresso martinis. Now, I'm not a big martini person. My boyfriend made us martinis for New Year's and they were just okay. Okay, he was trying out different types of martinis. He made mine pretty dry, and what they don't tell you about a dry martini, which me in my incredible naivete, is that it's basically just gin. And I'm like, why do people drink this? Like, why are you drinking a drink that is kind of just straight up alcohol? Like, that's not, So, like, just say you want a shot. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm not really partial to martinis, though I do like gin. But I had my espresso martini for the first time last year, October. I was out with my team, and I just tried it on a humble, and I was like, And for some reason last night, I saw it on the menu, and I was like, let me try that again. I'm usually reluctant when I see them because I'm like, espresso is probably not a good idea with alcohol. Like you're going, it's like a Red Bull vodka. Like you're going in 2 different directions. One, which I've never had. So I'm really, talking out of my behind here. But they're so good. It tastes like a mocha. It tastes like a frappuccino. Like you don't even taste the alcohol. So it really was more of a dessert drink. Like I was kicking myself for ordering it at the beginning of the meal. And my boyfriend was like, well, people sometimes have like this little aperitif. And I'm like, not a chocolatey dessert drink. So I started it at the beginning of the meal and then finished on a Cosmopolitan. But so like, but that's my drinks for the week. Like I definitely won't drink again for the rest of the week. So I'm kind of like, how much are other people drinking? Are other people drinking? I know my sister, my youngest sibling, she has a glass of Riesling like 2 or 3 times a week. Let me put some respect on this lady's name. Not 2 to 3 times a night. 2 to 3 times a week. But like, I guess I don't know. And it probably also depends on the types of alcohol that you're drinking. Like, I'm not a big beer person. I'm definitely into spirits or wine, really. I'm into spirits. So like, I can't have, I'm not going to have a cocktail every single night because that would be a lot because that's like really high alcohol concentration. But I guess I could see like if you have a beer, with dinner, like, but it would be unusual. Like there's been times where my boyfriend will have a beer 2 nights in a row. And I definitely have been like, yo, you all right, man? Like, but just, so that should tell you how much we're drinking. But yeah, when she described a damp January to me, and when these people at the table next to us described the damp January, I was like, they're just drinking when they go for like special events. So they're drinking at a friend's party, or they're drinking if it's a birthday or some kind of celebration, but that's it. And I'm like, that seems, again, moderate to me. Like moderate, that seems like normal. I don't know. I didn't know that we had to have a word for it. So yeah, maybe I don't drink that much. And yeah, I don't know. We just like, yeah, I guess I just thought I was being normal, but it seems to me like other people are drinking way more. And so like what seems to me like a normal amount of drinking, people are like, I'm going damp. It's not dry, but it's not my normal. So I feel like I just can't, I can't drink heavily in the same way that I did, when I was in my 20s. And again, even then it was like, I wasn't drinking consistently. It's just like how it is now. It's like, I wouldn't drink for several weeks and then we'd go out and we have a few drinks. Like that's the, so anyway, I have been known to, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this. I have been known to break out the good whiskey when something good happens. So there's that too. But yeah, so Jam January is a new thing that's been introduced to me. And yeah, I'm thinking more, of course, about New Year's resolutions. I didn't make any this year, but I am I'm still thinking about this, like my word of the year. So I think this was 2021, maybe 2020. I forget which year this was, but I picked a word of the year, and the word of the year for me was choose. It was like you should decide to do something and not just kind of like you should think about the choices that you're making and whether they're serving you, and like don't just kind of do things automatically. I don't know what my word of the year for this year will be. I'm really struggling. I think, a good kind of word of the year potentially, or something I've been thinking about for the year, is about allowing yourself to make mistakes and not requiring perfection. I know there's not like one word for this, but something that I'm actively working on is telling myself that I don't need to be perfect. And so when I mess up, it's like, hey, you're human. Everyone messes up. You can always try again, or you can learn from this. It's not the end of the world. But I can be incredibly hard on myself, and much harder than other people are on themselves, I've discovered. My standards are incredibly high for myself. They're higher than they are for other people, and my standards for other people are still pretty high. But yeah, I feel like there's something there about that. Also, in the vein of choosing more ease, choosing more rest. So choosing more ease, meaning like, if there's a hard way to do something, or there's a lot of hard work, or something's going to be difficult, like maybe I could break that task up into 2 parts, or I could do slightly less. Yeah, do less. This is a foreign concept to me. As someone who is basically just goes absolutely hard on everything all the time, like, doing less, again, is a foreign concept. I'm like, just don't do anything. So for me, I'm either like working incredibly hard, or I'm doing nothing. It's always like an all or nothing thing. Even when I'm like kind of on the weekends and I'm thinking about, hey, there's work that needs to be done, or I need to do chores. It's like, I will do stuff for like 4 or 5 hours, and then that's it for the rest of the day. Cause I'm like, you have gone very, very hard. So like thinking about ways to kind of have more balance and kind of do this middle of the road, like do enough, but not go crazy. And so I don't know how that one's going to work out for me, because I tend to, like I said, have very high standards. And to me, it's like, if it's not excellent, if it's not perfect, I don't want it. It's my Virgo nature as that's another thing. I've been, just for fun, getting a little bit more into astrology. I don't actually believe that our, birth charts, signs, etc. really influence or dictate our behavior. But much like, personality tests online, I think it can be fun to try to draw conclusions or go, oh, this is why you're the way that you are. Anyway, we've gotten to the end of this spread. I've talked about a million things. And hopefully you enjoyed the stickers. Again, hollow foil for winter is always the move for me, so this is not my last spread. But hopefully you enjoyed my chat, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!